Calls tonight for Toronto to overhaul its minimum parking requirements for new buildings. As City Hall reporter Lauren Pelly explains, some say the change is needed to keep pace with driver habits and housing needs.
If you want to park here, you've got to go up.
The best thing about above ground is you avoid digging deeper.
This Ryerson professor says Toronto needs more above ground lots like this one near the Eaton Centre.
You can repurpose redundant parking space if it's above ground in the future, but the choices to repurpose an underground parking lot are very limited.
He's making the recommendation because people are driving less thanks to the rise of ride-hailing apps. And down the road, there might also be totally autonomous cars that can park on their own in tighter spaces. Another reason is the cost comparison between building parking lots up in the sky and way down under the ground. Building lots above ground is less expensive and part of the regular construction costs. Plus, the spaces can later be used for something different. But underground, lot construction in pricey neighborhoods can cost $80,000 to $100,000 for each parking space. So if you build 100 spaces, that could cost at least $8 million.
It's a win-win because the underground parking spots will remain underground. There's not much utility for them, unless you want to use them to hold water in case of flooding. But that's about it. That's about it.
Some say the city also needs to overhaul its minimum parking regulations, which require close to one space for every unit in an apartment building.
There's Toronto near transit and there's Toronto far away from transit. Toronto far away from transit probably needs more parking spaces right now.
This affordable housing advocate says wherever possible, the city has a key decision to make.
How much land and stuff should we waste on what is essentially empty car storage versus providing housing for people who need it?
Councillor Anna Bailau says the city already pushes for less parking on a case-by-case basis.
Personally, I'm not a fan of above-ground parking spots. I always like to see them underground.
Which way the city goes could depend on how much people are driving or not. Lauren Pelly, CBC News, Toronto.